So if you've been watching our YouTube channel and following especially the Ferrari progress, I think it's really cool that we've done it the way we have, where we've had small snippets and areas and challenges and whatever. But I thought it was actually really important to take one of my favorite builds that we're doing right now and put all of that together as more of a story from start to finish with a little bit more explanation why we were doing certain things, how we were going to accomplish it, and some of the other challenges that you may not have seen yet. So I hope you enjoy it. So if you didn't know this, I'm actually a big fan of Ferraris. When I was growing up, the things that I really loved about Ferraris was, of course, the posters, because I couldn't afford a Ferrari. I could barely afford a Hot Wheels car that was a Ferrari. So one of my very favorite cars, though, was the 288 GTO from 1984 to 86. That era was just such a cool-looking car. But how do you get one of those? Well, you got to have millions and millions and millions of dollars, and it's really a car you can't drive. So how do you fix that? Well, you hook up with a couple of people that really know a lot about the 288 GTO, and you have to hook up with some people that know how to build a good car. That's us. And so basically you find the right client and the opportunity is all there, and here we go. We are going to start our project with the 288 GTO. We're starting with the 1977 Ferrari 308 GTB. Now the difference between a GTS and a GTB is pretty simple. It's a hardtop. There's no sunroof, there's no target top. So basically, and something that's very important with these cars, these door frames are almost impossible to find. So if you're going to build a GTS into the 288 GTO, you're either going to do it improperly with a target top, or you're gonna have to find some of those doors, which is impossible. This is actually a pretty nice car. I bought this car a couple of weeks ago on Bring a Trailer. It's got not a lot of miles. I think there's 40 some odd thousand miles to it. This has got the smaller 2.9 liter V8 fuel injected. And these cars are quirky, they're a little cumbersome. They were very popular back in the day. You might remember some of the movies back in the 80s, which I'm a big fan of. You had Christy Brinkley driving a red GTS. It was pretty cool. Magnum PI. I mean, I'm giving the whole history of movie stuff with Ferraris. It's not that important. What is important is we're going to take this car completely apart. We're going to send it up to Oregon to our buddy Bo's place and have it stripped. We're going to bring it back here. We're also working with Sean Fisher at Fisher Motorsports down in Phoenix. He actually has original styled body panels for this car. And I always thought these cars were originally alloy, whether it's an aluminum or a steel body. The original GTOs were actually fiberglass. Another cool thing too is Sean's actually a Motec Pro. So our engine choices went from LS with a Porsche transaxle to back to a Ferrari V8 engine. We'll do a standalone with Motec, and then back it with a 6-speed or maybe a 5-speed gated transmission from a Porsche. A lot of this stuff is gonna be on the swap meet pile, so if you're looking for parts, have your people contact my people, because yeah, we ain't got a lot of room for storage any more than we did before. A couple of little things around the car, let's take a look. They actually do a transverse mounted engine on these things, and the transmission is a transaxle. It's kind of weird. Can't really take a lot of horsepower. When we do this change to the 288, there's actually 4 inches of length that is added to the wheelbase to the back of the car. So there's gonna be a new subframe that'll basically be the engine bay structure. It'll hold the engine, transaxle, and of course all the body work. And it's gonna be really, really cool. This is kind of just a neat trip into the past. I mean, a Ferrari 308. It's such a cute little car. Let's see if we can get it to fire up. It's probably dead. It's firing on 3 cylinders. That's okay. We're not going to send it back. We're just going to take the car apart and start over. So with that being done, basically the only thing we're going to really keep on the outside exterior body panels, I think might be the hood, but I think that gets changed. The doors are going to stay the same. We'll do some modifications to get to the wide body, which kicks out pretty aggressively. The whole front fascia is going to get changed out, both front quarters, the lower valance. There's a lot of stuff to do on this thing. What's going to be really cool is to get all of these things that I've had in my mind for so many decades to get it on paper and then actually start to accomplish it. You know, it's so much fun to see a car finished and see all of its beauty at every angle and everything about it. But what's really cool is watching how it got there, even before it got pretty. All of the little systems, all of the things that you have to figure out, make work, delete, add, all of the drama. I mean, you know, sweat's pouring out of every pore of every person ever working on it.
Whole car's coming apart. We're gonna start from the inside out. Kevin said the car's going to get stripped, so here we are. I don't like this. Take the center console out, but I gotta take the parking brake lever out because it can't move forward. There's a bunch of linkages in here and stuff for the choke because it's carbureted. And like this is all mechanical and this is mechanical. So like it's not just wires where you can pull it all out. There's kind of like no give. So I don't know, there's probably some Ferrari technician out there thinking I'm crazy, but I don't know, we're just gonna take it apart. It might be the right way, might be the wrong way. We'll find out. Oh, nice. It's not great. Ah! I got it. There we go. Oh, wow. What the hell is all that?
So I did drive it, but it's okay, I guess. But you know, did you notice this?
Yeah.
This was a huge problem, I think. Like we can't even, like, how are you supposed to drive in the 24 hours of Le Mans, but if you can't,
Bro, just tilt the column.
there's no tilt, dog.
Try harder. I bet it'll tilt. Hold down really hard, it'll tilt. I'm just kidding. I gotta go grab some tape and label all of this.
Yeah, look at that. It's like, it looks like this is like a Pantera, just like the one next door.
I thought this was a Fiero.
It's Pantera. It's like a Fiero Pantera cross. Look at that crazy window, dude.
I saw it. Somebody tinted it at one time too.
Did they scrape the defrost off?
I hope not.
It's gonna be interesting to see what we can and can't get for this car. Gonna have to get real good with like international shipping from Italy. Hopefully it's fast when we're done, because it wasn't fast to begin with. You know, we might not be reusing any of this stuff, but it just really always bugs me when you're looking at parts from a build. You're like, what did this go to? What does it do? So I'm gonna take the time and label all this stuff like this. This is a Ferrari. We can't just rip it up. What is that? Hot, cold? We'll label it red, blue. Dude, this is like a. Just wait till I get this out. You can see what's going on back here. There's a mixture of everything back here. I'm currently looking at some Phillips screws, some hex head screws, some socket cap screws. So far, that's all I got. But it's all in the same area. Like, why? This must be because somebody lost the tools and then they just put, or the hardware, and then they just stuck whatever back in there. So by the time I get the center console out, I think I'll have my whole toolbox sitting here. This is what I was working with. All of this back here. These all have little clamps and little set screws, but it's all connected face down in the car. And then when you try to lift it up, the cables hold it in place. So that's what took me an hour. None of this is factory. Ferrari showed up
the Ferrari showed up, and this was a huge challenge for us to get clean because of a couple of reasons. The floor is completely fiberglass. It's got like a fiberglass pan in it. So we couldn't go our normal route, which is chemical strip, because it would have just basically eaten all that away. And then also on top of that, there was some aluminum parts in it, and aluminum parts don't live in chemical strip either. So we tried a laser, and that really couldn't touch 1977 Ferrari, whatever that is. So we had our good friends over at Ameripride locally soda blast this car, and they did an amazing job for what was there. So now we just got to get it inside and assess the damage. That looks crazy. So this whole pan is fiberglass, and then they just basically brought it up over the structure, and you can see over the years the water has, or the moisture has gotten under the fiberglass, and that's what's caused all this rust right here. Because see, just outside of the fiberglass, the metal's nice and clean. Once the moisture got trapped under here, it just started eating it away, and you can see how bad the metal is. So we'll probably end up peeling a lot of this back and cleaning it, repairing it, and then re-glassing this area, I would have to imagine. Or we might just build aluminum floor pans for the whole thing. You can see Ferrari's fine welds that they always do. This is so like vintage Ferrari construction. And I did notice in the pictures, like this whole front rail is completely rusted away and open. But all in all, as much as this car is we're going to use, I think we're going to be in good shape. This must have been a repair of some kind, but this is a patch, this is a patch.
Yeah, the similar product like that, you just, unless it's primered, but even then, any kind of vibration can eventually probably get through that as well.
And that's the crazy thing. I was looking at something the other day, and like a lot of the old school guys, that's the reason that they didn't believe in epoxy, because when you grind the metal to put your filler on, you're getting that mechanical bind, right? The scratches. When you epoxy it, you're not taking 36 or 60 to it, you're usually taking 80 to it. So they claim, again, everyone has a different way of saying, they claim that the reason that a lot of the old timers didn't use epoxy because they were afraid of losing their mechanical adhesion. Because I always wondered, I'm like, why would you not?
You're softening the scratches that are aggressive that would hang on to, but moisture will loosen that bond a lot faster.
Right.
So
it's crazy. It has these patches on both sides. I wonder if this is how the car was constructed. You see that line right behind the door?
yeah,
There's one over here too.
it is. That's where we need to try and save the panel. To be honest with you, I mean, if we can pull them off in good fashion, great. But otherwise, I care more about the car being square and intact. So if I have to fight to get those off, I would just as soon cut them off and grind off the excess, and we'll just toss them.
All in all, it's a good car. We'll have to check this rail because it looks like this one goes in.
Yeah. I think Ferrari's improved their process over the years. 1977 Ferrari's leaves a little bit to be desired, I think is the best way to say it. But all in all, I mean, we got a good crisp car for the most part. The stuff that we need is all there. There's some areas, floor, lower dash sections, all of that's gonna, it's fiberglass right now. We're gonna take probably all of that out and replace it with steel. Do a nice bead roll so it has a little bit more strength because the body that we're going to put on there is good quality fiberglass, much like the original 288 GTO. Actually, exactly like it because it's actually out of those molds. I've been looking for that tape. So for me, the opportunity to build a car that I always dreamed about having, finding a client that has the ability to pay for it and had that same passion as I had, and of course, having the skill to actually pull off what we're dreaming about. Well, all three of those things finally came together in my life, and I'm getting the opportunity to build a car that I really always just absolutely loved. This car is just powerful, the romance behind the 288 GTO, the styling, you know, the heritage is just so cool. And then to be able to do it to where it's something that actually you can get in and you feel a lot more comfortable driving. It's actually usable. I'm sure the other ones are too, but my point is to be able to get into one and actually drive it and enjoy it, this is going to be really one of the best projects I think we've ever done.
Okay, so we got the 308 back from Blast, and now we basically rip all the panels off of it. So we pull the fenders, we pull the roof, we pull the quarters, and then we add a new rear carriage, which stretches the wheelbase 4 inches. We have a kit for a 288, it's a replica kit. So then we start attaching the new 288 panels to it with the longer quarters, where there's a little adjustment to the door here, the front end's different, and we start putting it together.
101 repairs per piece on this whole kit. So right now we're trying to have the table help us make this thing super flat on the upper edge. And it's kind of a time sensitive thing working with all the epoxy, so.
In true fashion, you always start with a kit and make your modifications from there. Obviously, we wanted it to fit perfectly, so we had to cut and grind and smooth a couple things. It's a great place to start, but we had to make a couple modifications.
Okay, so here we are, the 288 Ferrari GTO project. We are trying to get this body to be our, immaculate standards, what we like.
230 something.
I'll kind of show you around what we're dealing with. Now, this has always been a thing. We need to extend the fender to the door. No big deal.
So just like a steel car, the gaps are never right. We just have to do it a little bit differently with a fiberglass car. You can kind of see where I've added glass to the fender to extend it to the doors, because we know the doors are pretty straight and good. I just added the material to it, so now I'm in the process of opening that gap up, sanding the panel heights so I can get the fender flowing into the door better. It's just a lot of on and off, sanding.
We are reworking the wheel wells to accommodate nice wide tires.
I think it's caught. Right? We're not caught here, so that's good. We're stuck here, and here. We're bottoming out here, and then this crack, this tube runs down right into this crack here, so it's like it kind of gets pinched between those 2 points, and that's where we're fighting. In there like somewhere. That looks good. Is that in? Yeah, it's in there. Oh, nice. So now we screw it in, and we never take it out ever again. That's not going to be the case, but I would sure appreciate that. This one lines up here, so let's put this guy here. This one lines up here. That one lines up there, which is nice. Just like that. We've got a wheel well.
Like anything else, everything has to be modified at least a little bit for our likings. You know, you can buy a stock replacement fender for your 69 Camaro, and it might not fit. So you got to nip and tuck and do the things. That's exactly what we had to do with this. Same on everything. We kind of had to nip, we had to tuck, we had to grind, we had to add, just to make it fit like we wanted it to fit.
The quarters mainly had some issues back here. We had to kind of rebuild the whole tail end of the quarters. Otherwise, they're okay. The tail panel, kind of the same thing, where everything fastened together, we kind of had to reinforce or rebuild. We're not playing to this, we're playing to this, right? All this corner's been kind of broke, which is fine, but we're gonna be better off leaving it nice and sharp until the very end, and then we can run a run the block across it and just flatten it and just get the radius back. And then if we can get that flat on there, when you take this out of the way, you can remove the rest of that material and know where you're at. And you have a spot like, now I gotta add to that one little area. Still barely crowd right through here, barely. You can see the roof is off. The roof is over there with some repairs and trying to get some shapes corrected. We have gone through the entire, this is the factory floor. We've gone through the entire factory floor and repaired it and made a couple little changes. Now, mind you, this is the 308 floor, and we've widened it to be the 288 GTO style.
And then I don't know, is this what you're looking for? Plate going down? I mean, obviously you shape differently, but probably cut from here and then a little notch around this.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can come up with something relatively architectural here, right? And get this out of the way.
Just chop it off.
And then, yeah, and then I would be, let's reach over and then down.
I mean, the modifications at this point start to come with, obviously, we're putting a modern drivetrain in it. So the rear engine bay where they're starting to place things on the engine like the air boxes, all that's modern, you know, the oil tanks. As soon as they get a couple pieces in there, we'll start to run the exhaust out. So all of that's very modern and custom, but we're gonna try to keep the outside of the body very 288-esque.
Porsche transaxle, kind of cool. Except for, I wish there was a couple more mounts back here. You can see the mounts are way up forward. And we want to reach back here, kind of where the traditional Ferrari mount was. So that means I need to get a hold of something back here on the transaxle. There's a couple holes underneath. One's tapped, one's not. We have one here, and we have one matching opposite over here, but this one's not tapped. So I'm quite sure we could drill and tap that just fine, but it's just doing it. But yeah, let's get this out of the way.
Okay.
Just be gentle and try to not melt everything.
Just
and
cut it, I can just cut it right here.
Just cut this diameter.
Around?
Yep,
So it's a circle?
yep.
I think the rubber comes into it a little.
The rubber will come off, I'll bet you.
Oh, okay.
Give me a razor knife, I bet you that rubber comes right off of there. Yeah, that's just laying over top of that.
Okay. Just strip the rubber, cut this into a circle.
Uh-huh.
And then something of that sort.
Yeah,
Okay.
just mark it up and then just cut the circle.
Yeah.
Don't cut it too deep, don't make a mess out of this. Cut it too shallow and then bend it off of there and then we'll clean it up. Yeah, just map out this
Okay.
and then cut it.
Carefully.
I mean, you can see where you can cut it really free right?
Yeah.
Out beyond the rubber,
Yeah.
and then dress it back.
Trying to get the piece of rubber off, and then I can cut them and try not to melt the rubber. And I think these might have hydraulic fluid in them. I just need to get it out of the way. I don't know what they're for. They're on the motor mounts too, but they don't actually isolate anything. I think it's from, well, Will thinks it's from factory assembly. This is the original Ferrari engine mount, not transmission, that we're reusing because we have 4 of them. I don't know, I was probably just going to bend them and start playing with them until I think. So,
That's kind of my vote too.
yeah.
Bend up a chunk and let's play with it and see if we can't come up with something that makes sense.
Okay.
Because even if we do come into it,
Not 90, but wider.
and then
come
kind of
back
from
this
the
way.
front,
Yeah.
it'll still kind of make sense, and then we'll just tie into that.
Okay. Same on the other side. The other side just goes straight to it, correct? One bend, see, come off
It's
this
like
90.
it's like we need to come to it from here.
Yeah.
So, you want to grab your protractor and figure out what this?
It's 150 degrees.
Oh,
I mean, I was eyeballing it.
what did you say? 115?
150-ish. I was doing this. You want to pull that out of there?
I was getting 55.
Okay, I'll go low. I'll go like 45 and then we can play with it.
Well, okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
Are you trying to get all the way to 60 to start?
55 is what I saw.
Right there, stop.
Okay, but it's going to spring back.
Yeah, that's 55.
Ta-da! It's a walking stick,
Like cut a slot in this,
basically.
not just hit it on the face.
Depends on how it lands. Depends on how we get it to land there.
Okay.
If we just miter chop on the one side, great.
Yeah.
But I kind of like this. I mean, not dead on, but it'd be nice if this landed horizontal.
Or close.
So basically that, but shorter.
Yeah.
Actually, probably a little shorter on both sides. So I would just template this and then work your way in, but try to keep this horizontal coming off the tube.
Okay. And then just whatever the joint is here, just
Basically, yeah. And then we'll just gusset into it.
Ooh, if you ask the people that are grinding the fiberglass, they say that it's harder. I think it takes a different skill set. You got to kind of plan ahead. You got to know where to add, you know, and then you have the set time. It's not like you can just put 2 pieces of fiberglass together, weld them up, smooth them out, and move on with your day. No, you got to mix up resin. You got to put fiberglass down. You got to let it dry, come back and shape it, grind it, get itchy. It sucks. So I think all the people in the shop are over the fiberglass at the moment.
Fiberglass. Are we all gray? I know I'm gray from it.
Probably gray.
Jesus. I'm gonna use that as an excuse.
Excuse for what?
Not my age.
Oh. No good. Not there yet. Trying to get to this line right here around the entire perimeter, and I built it up significantly too high initially, so lots to work down. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's not easy to add to this. Takes half a day to add the whole perimeter here. and it takes half a day to remove it. So the reason why we're going up this line here is this is the pinch when this is the seal, and when it pinches on the lip there, I'm looking at just above that line. So you have second little dab in, and then the line is just, I guess, below that technically. So if I go to that line, in theory, this seal will still grab it, but it won't impede on the hood squeezing it down. So that's where this line comes into play. I've had to create this tool to get into here, like created those two just to get through stuff. I got to get the entire back lip, but you can see it's significantly too high based off of that little black line. It just ramps up really, really high right now. So that's the next step. I've got these two nice. That one's just going uphill.
Do you think it's going to fit down over there? No, I don't think it will either. So where did that one block go that you had with the paper right on the bottom? Use that and carve into that corner and get rid of the big ramp in there.
Yeah. A good example would be this corner here. This edge just rolls off, and this edge just rolls off. So this corner's been built up, this corner's been built up, and then we'll reshape them. So this edge will just come in and then drop, as opposed to just tapering real nice and soft. So just building them back up, and then I'll cut the corner out, take this part off from this part, and then reshape them both into a much nicer part than that.
Ultimately, all the modifications that we've made to the kit just makes it better finish in the end. You know, it's still going to be a Kindig-It car. We want it to be absolutely as perfect as we can make it. So just a little nip, a little tuck, a little add, and that's what you get.
We've had it all on the frame, and it looked very complete. And then we basically found that there was a lot of flanges and stuff that we needed to repair and reinforce so that we could actually call it completed. I'm hoping 3-4 days here, we'll be able to get all these pieces back on the car and then get to a state where we're just truing some stuff up and making it super nice. And then we'll be able to finish up the systems, throw the engine in, and get this thing rolling.
I mean, overall, I think that the body is pretty much locked down. We're going to build the front suspension, front and rear suspensions, so we are well on our way to customizing this car.
You know, we could build something that looks like a Ferrari, but it is all just made up, whatever, which is cool. But the heritage of the 288 GTO is actually something that, you know, it has a following. Everybody really that was into those cars really holds it very highly as one of the jewels of collections. And so being able to do something as a resto mod with Ferrari drivetrain, the Porsche Transaxle, of course, we've been able to actually create a combination that is going to be something that you could definitely get in, take it around the track, take it across the country if you really cared to, and just really enjoy the car.
Or shift left.
We can move it around and then set it back up on blocks, I think.
Go up.
Okay, go down again, Will, or tip forward. Right there. You can turn hard there. Let's go towards the front of the car. We just go up from there.
And 3, 2, 1, you're clear back here. So keep going, cut it hard. There you go. Keep going, you're good. Cut back towards your left. Almost there. Cut it hard. There you go. Keep going. Hard left. He's crooked. Does that matter?
No, it really doesn't.
3, 2, 1, straight. Crank it hard again. There you go. Come on around. Come on around. Groovy right there. Take it all the way up. Stop.
The car is not really easily moved on the table that it's on, so we have to really get that thing dialed. There wasn't a lot of room. There was a lot of guys, a lot of things. This was the first time it was going in, so nobody really knew exactly where it was going to land. Looks like we have an intake issue. We probably are going to have a couple more issues.
Come on in a little bit more, and we'll call it there. Good. Good. Go up. You want to get a bolt started in the passenger side, you need to let it back down on something. You release that, and it's just going to go to the floor. You have 700 pounds, it tells you that thing's going to come undone.
I really think we got to be pretty darn level, so I hope we're not shooting
It's
for
level.
something else.
It's level.
Okay.
Okay, right there. Are you touching all the way?
Yeah, pretty much.
There you go.
So we got the 458 and the transmission in this car, but it led to some questions. Maybe a little bit of a design change. We'll see.
Right? It's got a little oil on this back primary ear side. Be a lot easier to move that window.
2 inches. How do you feel about cutting this back window piece out real quick so we can figure this out?
What we need to do is probably just cut this bottom flange off right here, and we'll just pull it forward to clear that, and we'll make a new piece of glass for it. Or we can bring the whole thing in, but to get it to start, you could probably just cut right here on both sides just to cut it out. This can be set in, it ain't gonna change much of anything. It's not taken away from your headroom, the headrest is clear up here. So you got 4 inches at least right there that you could play with, probably 3 maybe. Okay, here's where we want to do it though, guys, so it's easy to go back in, whether we extend it or whatever. Need to cut right under this flange.
No, we're not.
Well, cut it here then, so it's easier to get to repair when you go and end up cutting the whole window out and moving it.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to cut the lower back window flange out, which is also the jamb for the trunk lid, or for the rear deck lid. We're going to cut that out so we can set the intake manifold and get kind of a lay of the land of where this intake manifold sits. What we don't want to do, we're going to change this from a direct injection to a non-direct injection.
That's your face.
Traditionally on a 288 GTO, the engine does not stick out of the rear hood. How far is that?
About 2 inches.
That looks like 8 to me. Unbeknownst to us, the 458 is a little taller. And maybe not just a little, it's a lot taller.
Another 1 just to make it comfortable.
Yeah.
This engine is definitely bigger, it's modern, and it has a really tall intake, and that's where we're grabbing all the height.
The height is really good though.
That would be cool, because
If
then the
that-
deck lid kind of closes in half too.
The
And then
height
we
is
just
good.
take these straight down.
Say
So-
what, Dave?
So you would still move it another inch this way to give it a little bit of room?
No,
obviously?
I would move the engine back.
What does that do for the headrest and anything in that
Nothing.
area?
Totally nothing. Because this is dead. This is totally dead space.
So, riddle
What
me
does
this.
that do for the window on the side?
You're looking at through the window more. You're looking at. You got more window. You're looking through here.
We gotta make a window for the sides anyway.
This is just. Yeah, I mean it doesn't really change the window
Can
situation
we pull this
there.
back right here? Right there.
But then we're not opening the deck lid.
Oh, yeah. Well, can we hinge it on this side then?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if there was actually too much of an official game plan of how tall this engine might have been versus an original, but yeah, we're finding out that now it's probably 6 inches taller than what an original might have been.
What's your thought to move it back and not extend this, put this back where it was?
I feel like if you have yourself enough room to actually clear the engine and have it live so you can do things with it, you're going to be further than that, at least another ½ inch, right? By the time
Yeah.
they body work it and all that.
Let's just a hair over 2 1/16. Will you measure that? You got to come down a little though, Dave.
and towards you.
You just cut around it and leave it open.
I mean, we might look at that, but to be honest with you, I love how it says Ferrari. What I don't love about it is, and maybe we do a clear.
Because it's way up here, right?
Really?
What I'm seeing is like you're hitting it like right here, right?
Like, I love the
You know what we could actually do too? Sorry to cut you off. Why don't we do, well, let me think about it for a second. Let me think it through. Do you remember the 288 Evoluzione that we did? Had the back window with the louvers in it? Float over it. The whole thing acrylic with louvers cut into the rear deck, like an F40.
Up here?
Yeah. Remember it had the full back window, rear hatch, and it was louvered, acrylic?
Well, that changes everything because then we can just face the jam up here.
No, we don't have to move the engine back.
No?
Well,
because
is the only reason you didn't want to move the full window
because
forward?
I'm liking Howard's idea.
What's Howard's idea?
Leave the window where it is, and then do a treatment to where that part of the thing is stationary, and then build a U-shaped opening. If we have to reinforce that opening so it doesn't act stupid, because to me we're gonna drop these down, so that's gonna add that much more distance here. To me, I think it would be really cool to have those intakes up through the rear deck. You know, we're doing a modern take on this hot rodded car, so if those intakes were up there through the rear deck, it would just seem cool to me.
The biggest thing about whatever you guys do up there, and I think that's totally fine too, is just you got to be able to pull the intake off without dropping the whole engine.
Yeah.
There's the top view. So you'd still build a little bit back here of painted section and just do it as a rear hatch that opens now hinged right here out from underneath. What's your idea? Just cutting a hole and having that stick through the hood?
Build this in, close to where it belongs as possible, and then we just build the treatment and build the jam back here, almost like you're just chopping this off, and then slide these up where they belong. The window comes down where it was, and then the hood just gets a little shorter and ends back here. So this piece is fixed. Ultimately, we can't go any lower with the engine. The transmission sets that. We can't drop it anymore.
If you push the window, then it doesn't open.
The back window stays right here.
Are you moving the engine back then?
No, at that point, we could just leave it. We would just leave it. 'Cause it's in
I
the-
guess I'm not following how the back window doesn't have a big knot. You're going to notch it around the intake
The
manifold?
window sits back here. Not here, it sits here. So they could bring this up where it's very close to this.
You want to cut
Without
this right
having to
here?
move the back window at all, we would just bring the jam and basically this piece would stop and then the hood would just U around this.
The window itself is going to get stretched, correct?
No.
We wouldn't need. I don't think we'd need to. I think we can get the window.
I'm really lost how you get a window to stretch that much.
Well,
Oh, because I see what you're talking, okay, because the window goes all the way over.
the window
Yeah,
is
exactly.
here.
You're going to get rid of this section right here, move it forward, try and glass it back in, and then just fill this section in, put the jam up here, and it just U's around the intake
Like I
manifold.
said, that's not a horrible idea.
I don't think it's, no,
I think it'd be really cool in the end.
I think it'd be fine.
I think it'd be.
Because honestly, I don't want to make the back of the car look like it's partly an F40. So the back window thing that I was talking about, you could make it work. So you're still going to have a big engine intake manifold sticking out of the hood line. So we can still come up with a cover that goes over the top of that, correct?
You could.
I think I would leave it open and maybe build a removable cover so it could be seen both ways. I think it looks really cool sticking out, but I also think it's really cool that if it was covered and nobody knew that there was a 458 in there either. So it could go either way. I would probably make it like removable somehow.
I think it'd be just really cool right there.
With the engine sticking out of it?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
It's gonna hit right here.
Looking right there.
It looks
and
so dope.
And the height is really good for just having that. It's just
Like
the
it's gonna
same
hit
as.
right here.
Let's pull this back up for a second. So, only concern I have right now is just a little bit of this, but it's not to say that we don't have, I'm trying to think of on my car, Seems like there's something. Maybe it's
The
a little
oil
bit
filler.
further.
The
It is
oil
the oil
filler
filler
is
is
right
like
there.
right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I love rear-engine cars. As soon as we put it in there and we threw the deck lid on it, of course, we could obviously see that there's going to have to be a change in the design. Obviously, nobody can foresee all the things that we're going to encounter on a build like this. So now that Dave walked away on his cell phone, we just get to do what we want at this point.
Yeah, that's the way I see
Make it cool, boys.
Okay.
I'm fine with the direction we're going. I think we're making good decisions. I'm gonna let you guys put a hole in the hood, make a swing past it, and if I absolutely don't like it, then we might add a little flange to wherever.
I always choke on everything that gets said, kind of like, hey, let's do this. I'm like, yeah, whatever, that sucks. But then in the end, I like it better, so.
If it has to clear and you brought it back, it won't be far enough, and this is too far forward, it'll hit.
We're going to go back to a prototype style where it had a raised area and it was covered.
You know, as anything, there's an easy way of going overboard, but you know, if you're following along with what we've done over the last 27 years and really the style cues, that we try and do stuff that will still be in style in 30 years from now. And so going overboard isn't really what we're ordering on this particular car. We want to really play homage to what the original car was, but of course, making a couple of small tweaks, modernizing, say, the wheels, the stance, the brake system, and obviously the drivetrain. So I think that really this is this car is going to encompass all of the great things that you want about a custom car and something that you can actually use.
So on these intakes, they, are a big plenum, and they have the throttle body mounted straight off the back. With them being so tall, we don't want the throttle bodies hanging off the back and then having to have this cover that much longer. So with the air filters under the deck, we're gonna drop the intake down, turn it back, put the throttle bodies on there, and it will be really cool. There's gonna be a good bit of work that we're gonna have to do to it. We have to shape up some ends and build the cones. That whole process we'll get some stuff put on and tacked in place.
It is what it is. Now it's going good. Just got this corner here built. So kind of mirror image that corner. It'll land here and basically just roll off, and then plan is to take this rolled and roll it down into this roll right here. So just gonna get that first part of it, and then I'll taper it in.
Square. It flows through and is soft with that. Like, that's pretty peach. This is upside down, but I mean, that would be pretty good. And then we have to kind of debate on this down here. Are we gonna roll it under to catch this, or do we want to kind of finish it out like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was more the debate was down here, because
Right.
this meets up here just fine,
Right.
and just a soft rotation works there. This is where we need to decide, are we going to bring it in, or are we going to leave it out a little long and then come in?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like the idea of, initially leaving it out and then have it rotate back in right here.
Real tight.
Here, and then this would just continue in right there.
Fall into it, okay.
So it would kind of add to the bottom. So if it's flowing along, almost that one. We got to recreate the shape on this plenum. I'm going to take the original pieces, chop them off, try to rearrange them and utilize them. If that works, great. If we utilize a chunk of it, great. If we have to hand form some stuff, that's the way it'll go too. Roll this top edge, tank roll this top edge, then shrink this and get some rotate, like some bend in through here. And then let's plot out that bottom one, plot out the bottom tank roll and get that coming in here too, and then you'll have to start trimming it up so it'll fit. You could start with the top or the bottom, it really doesn't matter. But let's start with it relatively flat. Then if we, then we might run it through the hammer and just kind of give the whole thing some contour.
Okay.
Because that's what this one needs, right? It's kind of, it has a lot of contour here and then rolls, roll down. We're just gonna play it like it is. I always like to use the material that we already have. It already has the natural shape that's gonna work. If we have to combine some stuff, that's what we do anyways. So that's the plan. I can see it in my head. Explaining it to everybody else and having them do it, it's it kind of here or there, but in the end, it's gonna work. That whole process we'll get some stuff put on and tacked in place, and then we'll hammer it all out and get the shape what we like. Just gonna be a process, so here we go.
It'll be okay. Cool lines on the radiator to the hard lines that go to the back of the motor. Clean, clean, clean. Get it as clean as you can. These are used, the old tubes out of the car originally. So got to sit there and get all of the water and everything out of them. It's a different radiator, different motor, so everything for the most part using the middle tubing that goes through the car, and that's about it. You just get a dirtier weld, Aluminum is just all about getting it as clean as you can. So steel, you can get away with it a little bit, but aluminum, it'll really show up, especially under pressure. You got PSI.
In anything that's mid-engine, there always is the big thing. The radiator's in the front, the engine's in the back. So you have to get the coolant from the front of the car where it sees all the air to the back. And unless you have like a trophy truck where you mounted the radiator in the back. But again, we don't want to see the engine, so we don't want to see the radiator either. So the radiator goes in front, and then the coolant lines run right down the center and feed the 458. And we want to make sure that we have all the modern pieces that the 458 requires in the cooling system, versus just what they had in the 288 GTO. So what we did is we ended up running aluminum tubing from the radiator to the back of the engine. And it's kind of like building headers, but out of aluminum tubing. So it's a little tricky. You got to make sure you're good. Obviously when you're welding aluminum, you don't have the leeway like you do with like stainless or mild steel to fill in gaps here and there, because aluminum's a little trickier to handle. But looks like they knocked it out. It's killer. It's going to work perfect.
Looking pretty good. Nice and tight. Seams.
So on the intake, what we did is usually on a 458, the throttle bodies are right at the intake, and they basically run straight to the back of the car and into an air box.
Mission for today is to get those tips you just saw us cut off back on in the correct orientation to line up with the airbox in the back of the cars. Don't know if the mission will be successful, but we're going to give it a shot. Because currently the airbox comes in and it was like, the trajectory was landing like that. When these guys were on here, this guy was on that number, and this guy was on that guy. The airbox was coming in like so. To get that, you have to do a pretty sharp S, which I don't think we want to do.
No good. So we're gonna try to add more curvature to this to kind of come off to the airbox.
On this one, since it does protrude out of the rear hood, we basically took some aluminum, Will took some aluminum, and he basically extended that down so we could put the throttle bodies under the rear hood so you're not looking at them. And then we're gonna go straight to an airbox that we have modified from a 458, but we made it fit the 288. Did you guys get all that? 288, 458, 308, we got all the numbers and everything.
There's actually bolts to these, and then there's like throttle body and whatever else. These are just like a better visual of where we're going, because the plastic's a little bit uneven. That's all that was. Sand the edge down so it'll fit in this lip here, like a little inner lip along this piece of plastic here. So just kind of wedges it in to allow us to look straight down kind of the barrel and see what it's doing. And this is about the length of, I think, the throttle body that goes right here, both on this. So it's kind of like what the face we want to be doing, let's just here, not here. And so when we're coming down into it, we don't want to make it come to here if there's space that needs to be picking up.
What's next is this guy. Well, this is the driver's side. You saw it's cut off, so it came off of this one. This guy is gonna go somewhere on here and kind of pitch over a little bit to line those two up. And then following that, getting welded, will be one of these doodads going on here, something or another. Obviously it'll get cut to line up nice. And then following that, one of these guys, which is the original receiving end of this, will get welded onto this guy to then allow us to mount the boot to here, throttle body, boot, goes to that.
The way we're doing this and kind of reconfiguring the throttle body placement, it's adding a little bit to the plenum volume, but I don't think it's going to be anything that's going to change the way the engine runs, cause any problems. So we're going to drop that down. What about that?
Not mad at it. Can make Plymouth marks over here.
I think that's more what we need. We'll go that way 3/4 of an inch or so. Okay, you want that weld a 1/2 inch over there.
Right here. Okay.
We've cut this intake all up. We're going the right direction, but then the airbox has a taper to it, which heading inboard. With the way we put the first initial pieces on, it wasn't going to line up. So then we cut that halfway through the first piece we put on. Now we're going to get that adjusted so that it's got the direction that we need.
So we got some moving around to do. Gotta like push this little edge down to kind of play a little nicer with that. But we've got these guys here are facing the intake really nice. So I just gotta glue them all back together, and it'll just be peaches and cream after that. Fantastic. The best intake for Ferrari ever. American made. Yeah, these are machine surfaces, so the less I damage those, the less trouble I get in. We cut these heads off and they've got swapped, so that one was on here. So this structure shape here isn't what it should be, because that one was here and flipped. So I'm trying to just kind of bring this back to get the weld to be more or less flat, these two pieces to be flat to each other. And in the process of that, sneak and tack for more or less the flatter the shape is, when I go to weld it and then sand it back and actually shape it, it won't be so like you're trying to cut two lips. It'll just be butt to butt. You can cut the top off. A little bit easier. It's kind of do the work now or do the work later.
And then we're using the original airbox from the 348 in the rear of the car. So it's all very similar to the original configuration. We're gonna lose a little space from the airbox to the throttle bodies, and then we're gonna gain a little space on the other side. So ultimately it's long, but that's kind of the way it was. So this Ferrari is very unique in the fact that obviously it's a rear engine car, the radiator's in the front. We're actually using the original coolant pipes that run through the center console. In the front, we're gonna take the original aluminum tubing and reconfigure it so that it works with that. The one thing that we're doing that's kind of interesting is we're gonna pull the coolant from the front lines to the heater versus running those heater lines all the way back to the engine. These coolant hoses are all aluminum. That's originally what they were, and that's what we're going to continue doing. Like I said, in the front, we're basically taking all the original tubes and just chopping them up and reconfiguring them. Ultimately, it's all Ferrari parts, and it's just fun to chop it up and reuse it.
I think I do need to chop it up and adjust it slightly. That's half the time-consuming part. Think you got it, and then you don't have it, and then just need to adjust it a little bit.
About there.
Yeah, you're really close.
Okay, cool.
You just tack the rings to the intake from here. Like this bridge these.
Yeah, with this right here. So we're adding a little spacer to this doodad to bring this ring out, which was attached to the throttle body, I'm sorry. Anyway, this goes to that. Just kind of a little jumper ring, and this guy's gonna go up to the intake. So just trying to finish the intake up. It's been a little bit of a process, but I think we're at the last stretch here. Everything is fine. So what I'm doing is I'm just trying to hold this. It's 2 tacks here, and then these 3 are holding it, and I'm just kind of pushing this aluminum around because this ring is just a little bit smaller than this ring, or I suppose this area. They've all been cut and shortened because we don't have the right diameter. So just trying to move it around a little bit as best I can. The better this lands up with this, like the better it hits, the better it welds. If it's something like this, when I go to sand it, just do the work now or do the work later.
The bigger engine is going to require more cooling, so we went to a larger radiator, larger fan. We laid it down so we could get a little bit more size out of it. And then this car actually has a vented hood, so we'll get more airflow through the radiator. Before, the air had to just go out through the fenders, so now we're adding the whole big one in the hood also. So we'll get a lot more cooling there. And then this 348 engine, you know, as wild as they are, it's a mild kind of a, you know, street engine. So it should do fine to stay cool and just kick some ass and run hard.
When you weld or when you tack aluminum, it wants to separate. So like the 2 edges, once one way, go the other way. Whereas steel, they'll actually go together. So to counteract that, you got to have good pressure with aluminum to kind of force it to fuse
and I am not having good pressure.
We have a shop meeting at 10 on the other side.
So I am being
Then this is coming
very
straight
unsuccessful
off
at the moment.
here, right?
Or I'm not, about to find out right now.
Reaches over to the top of the oval.
Aha! I did it. One step at a time. But you know what? That is the hardest part. Especially when you're trying to line 3 things up.
When we had made these guys, we originally designed them to butt up against here. So they had the right cone shape to flow off into the part, kind of all funneling together. But we have changed the design again.
Ultimately, we are through the majority of all this fiberglass work, putting this body together. So now we're just knocking out some systems and we can see the end. And so it's feeling really good.
It's good for mock-up. Now we have this operation here, and well, the cones just don't work. This is too wide. So cutting slots in it to kind of just crush it down and narrow it up. So that this will flow into this correctly. And it's a lot easier to cut and modify this than cut and modify this. So this plays a lot nicer than this does.
Overall progress on this Ferrari project is actually good. You know, we struggled a little bit with the body and the body parts and getting them all lined up like we like to do here at Kindig-It Design. And now that we're moving on to systems like brake lines, cooling lines, engines in, we're starting to make things. That to me says that we're moving in the right direction, and this thing should be headed to the body shop in no time.
All in all, the car has been pretty much straightforward to the things that we really wanted to pull off. But obviously the rear deck lid and having to make that scoop, that was some of the things we really weren't counting on. There was also some challenges on the rear quarter glass. We had to change the shape of those. Those are actually functional ducts right next to it. And then also building the frames around that, building the glass for those. I mean, there's a lot of little things that you just kind of start to go, wow, when you're looking at it and it basically looks like there's not a lot to it. It's because all of the work to make everything disappear is what is to it. Does that make sense?
The GTO air boxes are more over here, and the muffler is there, down low.
It really kind of comes out this way,
Yeah.
and then you have the mufflers down the center.
So it had a filter and the hose to the turbo set up, and basically just under here was exhaust.
We're gonna get this exhaust set in there.
I have some concerns. If this is the output, these three, the output on the car is output, output, not center. If this is the output, it would make more sense.
They look very much like the factory ones, and they're like the very tiny from what we're used to.
Yeah, so this one's crazy different. So obviously it has the 458 V8, 4.5 liter. We bought a set of headers that are 40458. We bought an exhaust system that is aftermarket that is a 40458, and now we're just cutting all those pieces to make it fit a 288 GTO. So obviously it's smaller. It comes out of here. What is this, 3 out of here?
Yeah.
at the collector.
At the collector.
3 out of the collector, drops down to 2.5, 2.5 into the mufflers. These mufflers are a little special. They have valves that are activated by either vacuum or a computer source. I'm not sure how it works exactly yet, but we'll get to that. That open it up, that bypass the muffler, so you'll have that loud sound just like a 458.
And then I got a killer picture of the rear of these from underneath. And like I said, they don't have this step. And so the 2.5 coming into right here and running off will look great.
Yeah.
And then this other one, we might have to look at it. We might run the 2.5 off of here, so they match right here.
Yep.
And then
step it down.
I'd almost weld the 2.5 right on the
1/7.
I would almost weld that 2.5 right on the tube.
Oh, really?
Or right on the back of the muffler.
On the
Why
1
not?
On the 1 7/8.
Yeah.
Just
run it over it. Hopefully, pretty swiftly, we'll have an exhaust. Isn't that fun?
So the objective here is to get, right now, to get the exhaust mounted. It's currently mounted on these bars here, and I was just moving it to get it squared up to the frame. And the next step is to grab mounts and put a mount in each corner, so 4 total. And then once that guy is sitting under its own jurisdiction, then we're going to drag from headers to exhaust, and then the 2 pipes from the exhaust to the tailpipes. But right now, it's getting this guy to hang under its own will. I'm going to be touching your hand on this one. Hey, flash me. Thank you, senor. I realized these bolts were so long. I ran out of threads before I even got to the part. The trans mounts right here. So it'll land like that, and then I'll land 2 more back here off of this front face here, and it'll land on the cradle. So the objective is to have all the exhaust on the gray parts, not the light gray, the dark gray, so that way when the engine gets dropped out from the cradle, the exhaust can just stay in the car. If it lands on the light gray painted stuff, then you're gonna have a binding issue. Once this thing can float, the exhaust can float, then from there you got your home. I had to split the wing, which I threw the other half away. But anyway, so it got split, and they wanted a cover panel to cover the nuts, which you can see in there. So now I'm just trying to get this panel to weld to the exterior piece, but then lap the interior joint. The closer you look at it now, the better it hides later. You can get the little nitty gritty out here, then when it's in the car and you have everything going on, you'll never, even I won't see it. I'm playing that fight right now of like nitty gritty, wanting it to fit. Currently losing the battle. And the idea here is to keep the butterfly looking symmetrical throughout. Not too shabby, huh? Not too bad.
Looks like it belongs.
Yeah, just gonna tighten it up. So the next step would be to land tubing from the headers to the tips right there, and then from those 2 points in the back to the 2 tips down below. Yeah, I did get my pipes, and since I last talked to you guys, we've got 4 down tubes coming from the muffler, headed downward to our tips. All the while, I've also got these tips kind of made, or I shouldn't say made, but it was a 2.5 to like a 2 1/4, something like that. So we chopped those off and then taped them all up, put a little spacer in between them, taped them together. And these guys kind of fit right here, so we figured they need to stay together as one. So that way it's as simple as it can be. And now I'm trying to figure out a way to kind of temporarily / permanently hold these here, so that way I can go from my tubes to the back of these. But in theory, this will sit here, that one will sit there, and then it's gonna make car noises and do burnouts. And the secret with this guy here is it's gotta be in the correct home, because if I'm gonna link tubes to it, it needs to be where it's gonna live. It needs to be kind of set in stone, really. Otherwise, we're just chasing a stray rabbit. I think where I like them. But my opinion is short of reality, so. So we've got these tips semi-permanent.
I think I want to mount about like that.
So inch off the top.
About an inch, inch and a quarter, yep.
Okay.
And because it's at the same angle, which is really nice.
Uh-huh.
It's a really good fit. Spacing looks really good.
Okay.
But yeah, let's get them out just a little bit so we don't soot up the backside of the car. So if we just space it left to right, you're about a quarter, maybe a fat quarter, maybe 3/8. That looks like it's pretty even.
Okay.
So let's go like that, and then grab your tape measure and let's just get an exact measurement where I like it. About an inch. Yeah, that's about perfect. Yep. Yep. Square inch from there to there.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
Dope.
Cool.
It's looking good. So on the original 288 GTO, it had tips pretty much exact like this and pretty much exactly where I just placed them. So aesthetically, we wanted to still look like it was the original 84 Ferrari 288 GTO. However, with the modern drivetrain, this is actually a tunable muffler. So it's actually going to change tones at different RPMs and so forth, which is going to be super cool. It'll look like the original, but much improved.
The only thing we really got to be mindful of is this linkage right here. That side doesn't have one, but we have some shifting linkage going on here. So we're just trying to keep ourselves out of that. You can see that the more important one is this tube, because it's going to intersect that, or it can. But from the angles that we've got so far, it looks like we're going to be long clear of that shifter. That's the only real criteria. Obviously, don't hit the intake, don't hit anything. You know, nothing can be touching anything. These guys are going to come down here. Obviously, not that far, but. It's the least accurate line ever, but at least it's something to go to. And I know that one faded off. This right here, this little orange guy, is the section going from the tailpipe curving to face the muffler. So then I'll have this curve in. Once this is in, it'll be a straight shot from here to here. This is kind of the objective. And although this is the wrong diameter, this is the correct centerline radius. So the radius this bend is, this is the correct centerline radius. So this guy, off of visuals, looks like it's lining up nice. And that's enough for me to go cut some material. Well, at this point, you can go both directions. I've got the muffler piece on, the little tiny U, so that's done. This will be the U for the tailpipe part, so then it'll just be more or less muffler to tailpipe or tailpipe to muffler. However you want it to go. We're gonna go chop this guy up right about now. Boom, there she is. So that'll be the tailpipe part of it, which will get glued onto that guy. The only hard part here is that this is all taped in nice and took a long time to get centered and leveled and the correct length and all that. So I can't go glue this to it because then it's too heavy. So now I'm playing a game of hold it up and guess. On this one, we're gonna do what you would consider or I consider like scribe lines. So you would have like 2 pieces here, and you'd run a line like here, like that, and like this. Then I can get rid of them, do whatever I want, and then I can put them back and I know exactly where they land. So 9 1/4 is the distance between that point and this point. I just want to verify that it's the same on both sides, because that'll verify that they're not like sitting sideways, right? And then if that's the case, I'll go cut a piece out that's 9 1/4, which we got gobs of straight, so that's not an issue. And then glue 9 1/4 to this guy, just kind of shorten up the equation, really. Then I just got to rinse and repeat 3 more times. Oh yeah, plenty good. Little paper trick here. You can cut paper straight. You have a straight edge, straight line. So when these guys wrap back around, if you can line the 2 edges up, you'll have a straight line. Yeah, so we're a little bit long. That's a good problem to have. It's like, gosh. You can move it if you need to, but that should be pretty well good. What's that? You had moved it. Did it move a little bit? Don't want to move those.
Why 2.5?
I don't know. It's so puny.
Yeah. Well, I think there's probably a lot of thought that goes behind it. Obviously, it's only 4.5 liters. Obviously, the Ford over there is 7 liters. So a lot more liters, so maybe pushing a lot more.
Sure.
The combustion chamber's bigger.
Yeah. Just a lot bigger air pump.
I think this wants to be a little bit more restricted. I think it likes it, but then again, I'm not a Ferrari tech, so please chime in the comments.
It's probably that. Oh, just the size.
Probably the size, and maybe it wants some back pressure. Who knows? So.
Haha! You could throw like one more on there, that'd be great. Why do I do the insides first? Because they don't have the jumper on them, which is like a little module to restrict the straight pipe, which is the outer. From here, I'm gonna pull out the whole system. I'm gonna clock the top U-bends just a little bit more up and verify they're not crashing on our straights. Once those go back in and I have that verification, then we're gonna make the top or the outer tubes, which will have a jumper in it for a close off. Once that is done, which will probably be a more like tomorrow outcome, then I will remove the inners so that way I can weld the perimeter of the outers, and then I could probably weld the perimeter of the inners as well, then put them back on, and then I'll have basically a 1/2 inch tolerance on the inside, and when they meet together they'll be like a 1/2 inch. It's gonna be real stubborn to weld, so try to get as much done as I can until I have to get that 1/2 inch tolerance. That's crashing, so I gotta take this guy loose and just pick it up. our progress is going great. We have got these little vacuum modules cut off of what we had, and they are gonna go sit right here. And then the tubes corrected, so they are now 1/2 inch all the way through. They were a little bit tapered in. Yeah, those are good. That's good. I like that. See, 2 pieces, they go back together as one. I'm really happy with it, actually. I'm gonna try to get one more tack on this tip because I only have one on the bottom.
So far we have like the rear of the exhaust done on the Ferrari, and it's looking pretty cool. You always think, oh wow, if I did this, if we did that, it could be cooler, da da da. But at a certain point you have to kind of, you know, call it what it is and knock it out. The area of concern right here is getting a big air box sitting on top of it, so you're never gonna see it. The tips look great. That's all playing very nice. If you was to look at the bottom of a 288 GTO, this is basically what you would see. The tips come out very similar, so that's cool. Looking pretty good so far.
2 projects, 2 completely different ways of thinking about how you have to get something done.
Yeah, it couldn't be any different.
It's like Ford versus Ferrari.
I'm gonna go ahead and see if we fit in the car and make sure that the shifter has got a good position. Good God.
You gotta pull it towards the passenger.
The other way, you mean?
Yep.
Drivers? That's all right. Shifter's great. Perfect right where it's at.
Okay, and that's moved back, so we should have plenty of room there.
Okay.
Here, let me see
Good.
a marker. I'll give you a better mark.
You want it right in the middle, or do you want it closer to you?
Nope, right in the middle.
Yeah.
This will give us enough room to make an enclosure that sits in.
We're gonna go centered up.
Okay. Cool.
So the last thing we were trying to do was raise the column so you could get the window
a little bit more open.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the length right now, I would say not 3 inches like we said before, because I've moved forward now to get to the pedals, and the shifter feels great. So I've moved the seat forward actually a little bit, which is fine. I would say up a little bit and only about 2 inches.
Yeah.
You know, the spread there,
Yeah.
is plenty of room to get it away from my knees. Okay. And then if it's up a little bit, it's even better.
Yeah.
And then I plan to do a D-shaped steering wheel.
You like this?
Yeah, it's perfect. Yep.
I'm gonna go
Great
right in the
spot,
middle.
right in the middle.
Okay.
Right in the middle.
You know,
Yeah.
You don't want to.
Yeah.
Is that first?
That whole column, that whole center spine favors the driver.
Yeah.
This, it's not centered.
It's more over
there.
It's
over
further
there.
over that way.
Yeah.
I would say it's probably for good reason.
Yeah.
So I would leave it right there, centered
Okay.
in that center console.
We're getting in that option to take that off and leave the longer travel. So let's just make a mount, right? Plot it out. Did you mark it so you know where it needs to be?
I did.
Yep. There in the front.
Okay. Yeah. And then I would say put this pivot over the top of center there.
This turned out pretty neat. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna cap the ends. Yeah, and then I will notch the ends. I'm gonna break the ends over 90 and then notch them. We'll make the shifter nice and solid. You don't want that shifter moving at all. I'm attaching it all to metal, and then I'll encase everything. I think we're going to go back on the tunnel with fiberglass to seal the cab again. We cut all the fiberglass out of there to be able to weld
the shifter mount onto the tunnel. And then yeah, we'll remount it.
You can even open this.
Well, there's a whole bunch of different ways I could do it. Probably going to cut it with a cutoff wheel triangle, and then I'll probably sand the radius into it. I'm going to tack it on and then mount it, and then it'll probably just stay there tacked for a second. Get the e-brake in, get all the other kind of stuff in, then I'll just weld everything all together. On to the next.
So this one right now is sitting a little to the outside, or sitting a little to the inside. So we've been messing with them for a friggin' day, trying to find some combination of a position where this mount will get it to go the right direction for us. The mount is flimsy, look at the gap, it's big. Nice 3/16 like we would use, like we would want. And then even by the time this thing gets up here, it's so obviously I need to tweak that in. That would help that. But look at how close this is. Oh, and we've tried a number of combinations to try to get this thing to act right. It's just really kind of bizarre. I mean, it's not that high tech by any means, but a lot of it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Just the way, the direction of this, the whole pivot is laid in it's all built very weird. It's just really weird to me. Like this part of the pivot is way up close to the skin, this one's way down. Like a 1/2 inch difference just here. But it's tough because we want this all squared away here. We gotta make sure that this is all great when it's down. So it makes it hard to move it around too much. You know what I was noticing though is like this edge of the metal kicks out so hard, the opening it right there, it's ultra tight. So we probably need to bend that. Well, rip this one out anyways. Yeah, get this thing out of there. It's still gonna be a relationship issue though. I'm gonna take it loose right here and play with just this in the hole and see if I can figure out like what do we need to do to this to make it so it'll fit. Yeah, catch this just a little bit more because it's definitely this corner. Yeah, we need to make some more room right here because this needs to go in. I gotta throw it back together and stick it back in there and try one more time. Let's cross our fingers. Cross your fingers. Anybody that's nearby. Better. A lot better. Probably need to adjust it a little better. It's a little kind of hugging the inside already. And it kind of climbed that way a little bit more as it went up. But I think if I get the gap better now and get this out, hopefully it's something that will work. I think we're gonna have to just reshape this glass a little bit, because no matter what we seem to do, it keeps just hovering where we don't want it. And if we just change the shape of this a little, then all of a sudden it would be fine. If it was a piece of metal, I would hit it with a hammer and it would all of a sudden be fine. But this glass, I mean, I guess we could get it under a heat lamp and push this side in. Because right now we're just suffering from this bow that it has. I just don't understand what their point was to basically make them open to the inside instead of just straight up. They've got that pivot pin like way down on the inside, so if it had more twist to it, then it would fix the bottom. If the bottom had more twist to it, it would fix the top. So I'm about ready to take a grinder to it, and we can make one more adjustment and all of a sudden be like magically done. I think our best bet is to get a heat lamp on this thing and clamp it and pull this side in. All the structure seems to be in the right place, it's just this fiberglass is hanging out. The glass won't listen without a little heat. A lot of heat. This car's the perfect fixture, but I don't know that I want to heat these fenders up. I don't know, heat gun's not the worst idea. Pretty sure Final Assembly's got a pretty nice heat gun. Maybe we try that first. We'll get this where we can burn our fingers with it. Yeah. Outside on a normal sunny day, paint will be about 155 degrees, right about there. So if you think you're gonna move, so you gotta imagine the fiberglass. Okay, look, we had one spot that was up there pretty good. So I'm easily into the 200s, and then it'll start moving. Where did I have a good hot spot there? So we'll have to get this whole area kind of warmed up like that. And then we'll go to the other side and do the same thing, because it will be a mix of all of it. Let's put it this way, if the paint starts lifting, you know you're hot enough. That's warm right on the surface. Woo-wee! And you can see the little paint wrinkle right where we want it to be. I mean, I wedged it to where that should have been enough. Like, I didn't have to put extra pressure on it because I already had shoved it over with these basically opposing, right? This was basically just solidifying this so it's stationary, and then this is what I wanted to move. So it should. Let's see how much it just springs back and tells me that I don't know nothing about moving fiberglass around. So I don't know. Looks a hell of a lot better to me. We're getting up on our. I mean, now we're basically even. I'm gonna call that done.
To fit that intake manifold that is on the 458 Italia engine in that car, it never occurred to me that it could be that tall. Because in my 458, it's way under the glass. I guess the back of my car is a little bit thicker than the 308 or the 288. So when it now came through the rear deck lid, it was really important to make the bulge over the top, or the hood scoop, so that we could basically hide that underneath the deck lid. Also, there was a little bit of modifications that had to happen at the front of that, or at the back window, basically to be able to get the deck lid to open over the top of that and not hit the roof. So there's some really tight quarters there. Really, it was that way on the originals. And of course, got a little bit more difficult with the big bulge that we had to put on the top of the deck lid, but it really worked out great. And it just so dumb luck happens to be the photographs we found of the original prototype car actually had a hood scoop on it. So it just worked out. So when we put the engine in and realized that the intake manifold was going to stick way out of the 288 GTO rear deck lid, we basically needed to go back to the drawing board and figure out what we're going to make that look like, what the style is going to be. Why don't we do, well, let me think about it for a second. We think it through. Do you remember the 288 Evoluzione that we did? At the back window with the louvers in it? Float over.
I think it would be just really cool right there.
With the engine sticking out of it?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Looks so dope.
And the height is really good.
It is going to protrude out of the deck lid because I don't want to change the velocity stacks. I would totally change the performance of the engine. So we're going to leave the velocity stacks at the height they were, which means that the intake manifold is sticking out considerably, about 4 inches outside of the engine bay.
I love rear engine cars.
So what we've got right now is this templated up. We're going to go ahead and kind of chipboard it in, make sure it looks good, and go from there. Or if I hate it, there might be another idea, and that might be to do either a clear dome over the top of this, or to look at possibly doing a fiberglass extension and basically building a scoop over the top of the intake manifold. So
Clear dome. A clear dome like
like
Biodome with Pauly Shore.
No.
Like Biodome.
No.
Yeah, it was clear.
Like a 250 Testarossa 1957.
Not
Or
like Biodome.
or any of the coupes, 348, 430s, 458s.
Please like and subscribe if you know your Ferrari's better than me.
488.
Or him.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Yeah, we're trying to make this. I just glassed this in this morning, and we're trying to just shape it to go around the intake a little better. And then we're gonna add. I gotta keep going with it, but it's good for now. We're gonna add a section that comes around, and I think it's gonna like zigzag. May just go straight across, but cut that off here. So this will be a window, and then this will be a window, and 2 windows here. These guys are the main concern, getting this fitting it real nice, and they want 1/4 inch. We've got a lot more than a 1/4 inch right here. But I've got to put this lower lip here that you see along this whole edge. So the lips here needs to come down. So I'll stretch it out, and then we'll sand her back down so that it plays a little tighter than it does now. It's a little loose at the moment. As you saw, there's some cracks in here. When this layer got laid on, it kind of rolled off and it left a void. I'm gonna throw a piece of glass across the entire top here. I don't want that opening, so this is just kind of like a mixture of like cut up glass and resin. We call it paste or goo. There's probably a correct term. I don't know what it is, but nonetheless, it basically fills that hole up. We'll sand that top off right here, nice and flat, and then we put the big sheet on here. It won't have any air pockets or voids that it's covering. Just kind of a smash it in there, make sure there's no air in it, and then let her dry. And the air bubbles, which there are none in this, but they would look something like maybe right there, like a little lighter pocket. You just want this nice thick red all throughout it. And you can see see all the little resin coming up as I go through all that, and then it sinks back into the part.
Grab some tape.
Before Dave gets here, okay, Dave's here. Dave's here, so we just need a little bit of artist direction. Artiste direction?
Uh-huh.
So obviously, we're kind of following this. Obviously, the engine sticks out of the back now, so we are making it flow, right?
That's right. So I think this will give us a good idea. Wrapping it around that, closing it in will work. I mean, I guess it could go. And with that being said, then maybe what we do is I can keep just taking it out of this and moving that forward.
Or what you can do is when you build it, just build it because you're going to build the flat part first across here and then put the flanges on it. If you build it, just leave it long and we'll just trim it in.
No, I would definitely, you won't be able to trim it in unless you make a template. You might as well make a perfect template. But this gives you a ballpark. You can trace this right now on something and then just continue to cut this in until it moves forward and then just see how it looks.
Okay.
I think it'd be fine, you know, but definitely save where you're at. You can get a good radius, like the tape roll or something like that, and start using a perfect circle, centering this perfectly. Measure, make sure everything here is gapped properly.
And then also too, as he's working on it, because the front of this is rounded and then the back is square, so do you want to round this like that?
Oh yeah.
Square it off back here?
This isn't even how thick necessarily. I'm not dictating what this thickness is. You can probably go back to this. This is probably fine too.
Do you want to go this thickness from the bottom of this?
I don't think it's a big make or break. I don't think it makes a bit of difference because you got this thickness, you got that thickness, you got this thickness. It's kind of all over the place. It doesn't matter. I wouldn't go any skinnier, you know, any closer. So if we continue to move this forward to get around the gas cap, the oil bag cap more, and you're opening these up, just plan on adding some back here.
Like Dave said, let's scooch this up and then watch our limits. We just kind of pivot it and see what it's going to do.
And so based on that, just you're about 2 inches to 2 1/4 would be fine. 2 1/2 even.
And through here, we're keeping that quarter. Do we want to keep the quarter off of here?
Yeah, we want to keep it the same distance all the way around.
Yeah, you don't want any big gaps, but you don't want to try and go like sneaking all the way up into here. You're never going to get there.
No.
So even if you just approach close to this gap right here, that's good enough.
And do you want to do a radius over through these?
We certainly can. I don't know if that's a make or break. You know what? Yeah, you could do a radius.
I would.
Or it could have a tight radius and a flat, but I think by the time you expand those and get them in far enough, you're not going to have that much. So, but don't make it look like a flower. So if it needs a flat spot, we'll cut those back a little bit. Does that make sense?
Perfect. Okay, you good?
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay.
That was the answers I didn't have.
Well, originally we didn't plan on having the engine sticking through the rear deck lid, the engine bay. So now that we have to kind of work around that, we're going to try and stylize it. We're going to use a couple of different ideas. I think first we'll just try and sneak up on it, get around the intake manifold and the oil bag cap and just make sure it looks good. If that doesn't look good, we might go to plan B, and that might be maybe making a hood scoop if it'll still clear the roof to be able to open.
So what we want to see, do you need to fasten that, or will it just sit there?
It should just sit there and like not get in the way. Or I
Okay.
could just move it. I don't have a fastener for it right now.
That's fine. All right, let's come down. What I want to see is why is that hitting? Okay, it's rubbing right there. So let's loosen these up again. We're trying to get the alignment of the deck lid set. The problem is it's because we're still constructing it. Just making sure that the hinges, you know, if we need to do any modifications to the hinges, and then just overall just checking the shape of the deck lid to make sure it's following the body. So let's come down again. And let's come my way. Are you having to push on it a lot?
Not a lot.
Not a lot, but you still have to push on it some. Okay. And so we're a little tight back here. And we've got some gap over there. So what do we got over there now? At the front.
It goes like from an eighth inch to like not quite an 1/8 inch, but not a 16th.
Okay, so we're about where we were. We've got a little bit more at the back. Okay, so let's tighten it back up again and see why we can't get this sucker to swing. Okay, so let's tighten that up right there and see. I need to show Will this too, why we're below surface here. Because we're panel matched pretty good here, we're panel matched pretty good there, and we're not there. Let's start picking it up. Now it clears, which is good.
If it clears and it's low, it's good.
Come back down.
No, that's good.
We're hitting over there though. That's the thing. So this is like
Push it past there. It's way tight right there.
yeah, it's way tight in the front. So we were trying to pull it over. So we may need to just do some adjustments with the hinges. You're still hitting over here on that spot.
On the upper corner?
Yeah, on the upper corner.
Is that one loose? Okay, it is.
I mean, I could get it loose or you know my way.
Yeah, might as well.
Kind of that part of that process of like fitting, fabbing, fitting, you know, to make sure it's like take it off and check it 20 times.
Currently making this guy in the process of tacking on these little nutserts onto the sheet metal. But this guy lives, follow, take a walk. These guys live here. So I made one, and now I'm just gonna make the remainder 6, but here's a hat. These guys sit right here. And if you look through your way, all you see is mesh. But on this side, you get a nice little tab up here to glue this down, and down here at the bottom to glue that guy down, which will then hold this little mesh screen in the car.
So on this rear deck lid, when it came in, it was basically a two-piece system that you had the outside skin, you had the underside structure, but where we had to move stuff around to be able to accommodate the bigger intake manifold on the 458 Italia V8, it was important to basically go through, cut some of that stuff back, restructure it, and then put it back together. So with a lot of modifications on the bottom side, the outward appearance still looks pretty stock, but of course, those vents really are nice. They finish it off. And when those are all painted red and match the rest of the body, I think this thing's gonna look like $1,000,000.
That's what the stock cover looked like. It's kind of hard to tell in there. But what's happening because the engine's so far forward in this, that cover is almost going to have a portion of it on the actual back of the cowl. And we'll have to have like a little lip on there so that when the cover that gets made on this, when it comes down, it'll seal on that edge. Because the cover would be so long that it's not going to clear as it goes to clear when you open the hood. The frunk, the deck lid, whatever you want to call it. So I'm trying to get this latch so that we can figure out how we want to go about getting that shaped. So we'll go back and like really clean it up, but I can like make a little pattern, flip it over, and make my other side over here, you know, really close to what this side looks like, you know. And I may find that my side over here is actually already bigger. Maybe we've got to come back and trim over here. But this design has changed because I think before we were not going to have the engine sticking out, and now it is sticking out, and you know how that goes. The tape's a really good way to, I mean, we've done it here for years. We're not the only ones. Tape's kind of an easy way to just give yourself a pattern. You can lay it over to steel or get it onto chipboard if you got to do something a lot more precise, you know. And like I said, this is all preliminary. We'll go back and shape all this a lot nicer. And a lot of it's going to get hidden under the cover. And that should get me close to the other side.
Are these long?
I think I'm gonna run with that for now so that it'll latch and I'm not like rubbing on the intake so it's not pushing and misaligning the deck lid. So I'll get it latching and then I can start looking about mocking up a cover here and there. So the original one that's in the photo is very angled. It's not, doesn't have a lot of radius or anything to it. So I'm gonna just kind of mock something up similar to what's in the photo. Just something we can set on there and decide if that's what we want, because there's some round lines in this Ferrari obviously, but there's a lot of, I guess what's the word for it, trapezoidal or just angular, you know. It's not a lot of straight lines, but the cover that was originally on there was kind of crudely shaped like this. It didn't have a lot of shape to it. The whole thing's been glass, so yeah, we'll just make a little mold and pop a, like I said, probably we're gonna have to do something at the back because of just how far forward the engine is. I'll have to have like a little small portion of the cover kind of be fit to the body, and then it'll have a little, you know, like a seal lip, and then the cover that's on the deck lid will sit down on it. Even though we've made some changes, we're trying to keep some specific like retro look with this Ferrari. So we're just gonna go keep it close to what it looked like, and then if Dave wants to change it, we can change it. For right now. Yeah, so I'm sitting on there. So we're sitting on this. I gotta make this taller, but essentially something like that. And that looks a lot like the drawing, or not the drawing, but the picture I have. So it's pretty, like I said, it's pretty angular. You may not want to run that. So maybe have Dave look at it, because I'm sure he's going to probably want a little bit more of a round look to it.
No, I think that's actually about. Obviously, we're going to have rounded corners and softened, you know, areas. But as far as the wedge, the overall shape, the overall design is basically what we're going to put on the car. That's what was on the prototype car. So that's what we're going to go after, is something about that same scale, softer corners, a little bit of angle to it if we can. But yeah, that's it. Looks cool. Almost looks like a Countach.
Get that out easily. So we had put all the elbows and everything on before. I kind of assumed that I could get in there better, and then I couldn't. so I had to chop them off and kind of go at it a little different way. And then this one was really kind of a mess through here. I couldn't fix some of the stuff, so then I had to take it apart again too. So Kind of got a little overzealous and it's kind of biting me. And now I've reshaped this elbow. I had to take it apart a bunch because it was kind of a mess. But then now I'm going to work with Jake and we're going to get this welded back together. Then it'll be more kind of rinse and repeat. Get this shaped up, get that shaped up, and then I'm going to get it dialed so we just have to put it together one last time. Okay, right ahead of that mark. And then go right after it. Right in there. Yeah. And then weld it up.
I use an air saw and then block it. Just
You totally could, but you're gonna spend about 3 more days than just getting it in the, because it's so thick.
yeah.
So I would, you're just doing an offset off of this interior edge.
Uh-huh.
So I would flip this thing over and mark it right there.
Okay.
And then you can flip it upside down and run this in the bandsaw here, and then same, then right side up over here,
Yeah.
and then yeah, just use your handsaw to come across here.
Right.
In fact, I would probably get your handsaw in here and just come out to your mark first.
Oh, okay.
So then when you get to the bandsaw, it'll just
pop
come
off.
loose. Cut it.
Too bad.
That's good.
It's not bad at all. In comparison to the
Yeah, the bigger chunks you can make.
yeah. The cutoff wheel's pretty nasty,
Yeah,
and the
cutoff wheel's like
sanders are
Long
nasty.
way to go.
Yeah. This guy's not too bad. Though. If you can hold the end while we go through it, we're taking off from there to here, and we'll flip it there to there. All right, it's got to get squared up. I was a little bit more worried than that actually was. But we're gonna find out just how good it was. I didn't feel like I was going very straight, to be honest. I feel like I was going. So I don't know. We're gonna see. It's kind of crazy to see all this is all foam that they put in here. It's kind of thicken it up.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy to see it kind of surgeryed a little bit.
Let's look at it and then look at it with Big Dog, and let's see if we like the angle.
Okay.
If we like the angle, then let's start cutting some shapes out of fiberglass. And remember, we're going to go to the bottom. whatever we
that.
make, it's going to finish it out at the bottom. So it has to be tall enough to go over the top of what we've got, and then it has to come all the way down here because this is where we'll bond. So it's going to close this out. So we've taken off to the 3/4, but we're going to slip down in here with the material thickness.
Right.
So it's gonna we'll need to double check that as well. So once this is on, we can see how much clearance we really are off on the intakes, and then we can say, okay, when we add a material thickness back in there,
We need to add it with
maybe we're a little too close. So then we'll cut this down to 5/8.
It's gonna be a rocky bridge. I'll tell you what. Thought he was 50. Oh boy, we got clearance now. Holy smokes. It's weird, I've only seen it so tight, so. Now to see it off a 1/4 mile.
And don't be shy. Whoa. Got a little small in here real quick.
I think we need to bucket out the seat.
Yes.
Sit down in the seat.
Move it back a little bit further.
Steering wheel needs to have a deeper dish.
Well, this is a problem right here, and there's no tilt, so column definitely needs to come up. I would probably take it up a good 1.5 inches. I know. And maybe that's all we need to do is, is there another part of the column, or is that
it's
okay,
just there's a lower cover.
Okay.
You fit the dash tight to the upper column, and then there's a panel underneath it.
Yeah, let's go up half as much. Let's mix the 308 and the 288 so you have a jockey box. These are really cool. If we could retrofit this stuff, I would love to do that. The choke, that needs to probably just go in my toolbox because it's really cool. No smoking, so we don't need the ashtray. And then there's no armrest on this one. But the 308 has it, so I think this is nicer, I think. And so I think it would make sense to do that. This little horsey right here is going to go down. Well, maybe we'll just leave it right there, actually. So what we're going to try and do here is we're trying to mix the 288 and also the 308 with the 458 and a 348. I mean, this definitely answers a lot of questions on the inside and obviously the quarter glass. Let's see if we can get the intake manifold back up on there so we can visualize what that scoop box is going to look like. Okay? And then I can make sure that just when you do, just let me know.
Oh, sure.
Because we'll just do a quick cardboard cutout of it. If you weren't that familiar with an old GTO, you wouldn't know that engine compartment is all completely custom and put together with a late model Ferrari engine, a brand new Porsche transaxle, all of the suspension components, all of the parts that are in there, the box, the airbox, the muffler, all of that stuff. If you didn't know what you were looking at, you might think that was the original stuff because it is all buttoned up and perfect, just so it should be. I think the engine bay, is going to be something that people are going to stand back and go, wow. And I think I even find myself standing back and going, wow. To be able to use that drivetrain with the adapter, the Porsche transaxle, the airbox from a 458 Italia, the modifications we've done to that, the electronically valved exhaust system. I mean, there's so many little things on that. When you look at the package in the jewelry box, as we call it here at Kindig-It, I think you're going to really notice that there's a lot of things we made to look like they were originally factory parts for that particular model, even though they came off of a much newer model.
The front reveal here, because we're rounded. Are we going to square off like this, or
no? I wouldn't think so. No, I would follow the window.
Follow the window.
Yeah, that's where I would,
Okay.
deviate from a square box.
And this is going to have to come up because I think it's sitting right on the valve cover here.
Yeah, I could see.
It's going to have to get
air on the little much. Yeah,
taller.
Another half inch
or so to bring it up there.
Yeah, air on the clearance side.
The glass over it.
Well, I mean, I was looking at the flat sheets. We can get this contour with that sheet.
Well, I mean, that would ensure we can get this thing done. I mean, I can knock that out.
It would make it so it get done.
This piece that we're making here is the surround that goes on the back of the, I guess the front of the engine technically, for the engine cover. So
to slowly weld this guy down, and so we're gonna get the sides on, and then just like that, it'll be done. If we were to do it fiberglass, it would have just been more or less make a chunk and carve it out, and that's just a ton of work. So we decided to just go metal for the part that's going to adhere to the body. The actual cover on the deck lid itself will be glass though. It will not be metal. Whoa. Got like half the battle. Ira.
Yes?
Can you please come here?
Oh, there we go. Okay, did you guys... So, I'm liking the shape and where we're going. I think still the only thing that I'm still concerned with is this is so far below this. So where are we going? You know, if the deck lid is hovering, let's bring it down.
That's close.
What's landing in here?
Shape of this fiberglass.
You know, I guess our fiberglass is going to be, you know, whatever roughly that stuff is. It's like 3/16 of an inch or 1/8 of an inch. So we've got spacing in there. So are we gonna, are we like bullnosing that edge? Are we building that edge up, or is this supposed to be taller? Is this supposed to be up there a little bit taller?
I don't think it's supposed to be that tall. He wanted the top of this.
He wanted this to fall into that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Latch that, please. Yeah. Well, that looks better. Other than it's high there. Your corner looks fine over here.
See, that ain't so bad.
Well, keep going. Let's see what we get.
Well, I'm at a point where I need to know what the corners are. What are we thinking for corners? Because this is very sharp. This box is very sharp. So are we just having a plate to cap the ends, or are we gonna roll them? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I don't think we're going this sharp with the
No, let me
fiberglass.
look at the photo. We have the photo of the prototype one, and I think we may make like a little corner piece that has almost the same shape that you have on the top.
Just kind of like.
Yeah, it'll just kind of like cap the end there. Let me take a look.
Okay.
You can still work on getting something mounted.
I'm under the impression that we are right here. Probably 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Going through.
So I would work on getting some sort of a center line there, so we can start. That way you know where you're going to land this.
Okay.
At least get some layout on there so you know where you're going to land everything.
Okay. So the problem here, he wants a center line. I think the motor's off a little bit. Nah, we're pretty solid. We'll find a center line. This guy's 16 3/4 right now, which is long. I think we only really need like just shy of 16, but you know, you make it long so that way you don't get yourself in a pickle. So we're gonna get center line on this, on the glass. This all has to get cut back quite a bit. This pencil line here that you guys see running all the way around is the window. So that is the outside edge of the window, which is good to know because this can't touch that. So we're playing a game of like, have enough room for this lip off the window so it looks good, but then also have enough room off the intake so the motor can do motor things and not crash into the body and chip paint, because that's what we both want to happen. Here's our center line.
Puzzle building action. 31, I gotta make sure I got all of these. So this is front bumper and deck lid grill pieces. This is a scan of the deck lid. And so we basically just redesigned to make them a little bit better than what the factory unit came with. So a little bit more modern, a little bit better fitting, because a lot of stuff kind of from the Ferrari factory is made one-off. Stuff doesn't really fit anymore. So We got the deck lid, and then we also got the front grill pieces right here. So they all came in one big package. So right now I need to organize them, get them back to, you know, how they should be, line them up so we can weld them together. I'm gonna put them all together. Basically, they should lock into place like so. But we're gonna need to take off a little bit of material there, just get everything to fit properly. So yeah, assemble everything. They should lock into place, kind of like how this front grille is locked into place right now, but just with everything. And then yeah, we can just send it on over to the welders. They'll weld it all together and then send it to paint and body to get those make them look right, get them Ferrari red. Problem with these, they all look so similar, so trying to figure out which one's which. Tried to put a little groove in the CAD. There's supposed to be a little groove on the bottom of each of these, so like when they printed them out, you can kind of see like a big curvature, and then you could line them up. But that did not get cut out, so just doing it by hand, you know. Old school. Dude, it is, man. Ferrari stuff. So that one went together. I'm like, oh, those all look different. So that one went together easy. But all this stuff looks the exact same, and they all came in like just different packages and stuff. So
is there a slight taper?
Yes. Yeah. So like this one, you can see it's like easy curvature. You know, all these other ones, they were supposed to have a little nick in the bottom, and so you could tell like when you stack them up, they were supposed to kind of run smooth.
There's a nick right there.
Yeah, you can see one, but it didn't come out on all.
Oh.
And so I'm just kind of, you know, eyeballing. I got the CAD, so it's like I can put it together. It's just a little bit of, you know.
You like puzzles?
Man, yeah, dude, it's like a puzzle. Nice, relaxing.
Right.
No problem solving.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't do any problem solving. That's
No,
just the puzzles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'll talk to you. Okay.
We got fender grills figured out, put together, deck lid grills put together. These are the smaller ones. These are actually for the intake. These are vents, so they're in opposing directions. So on the car, it'll look something like this. So different airflow. That's the front grill for the front bumper. And then this is the final piece for the deck lid. Just organizing. There's a couple little differences just in the heights of these notches, and that kind of, you know, gets it serialized on the car. So spending some time doing that, putting these together, and then we can send them over to get welded. So almost there.
I want to find a photo of the scoop. Since we're going to do this in two pieces, the portion that he's building right now is going to be this back portion here. And so we're going to make it in two pieces. So we just need to figure out how we want to make the corners, and then we'll give it a little a step that comes forward to where when the top piece that's going to be on the deck lid, as it comes down, it'll close out the sides, and it'll look seamless from the side, and all you'll have is we'll just have that little seam line across the top, which it's not going to look bad. It'll be just fine. The reason why is on our deck lid, the scoop is so close to the edge that you can't open it without it crashing into the back window in the back of the car. So that's why we're doing it in two pieces right there. So when we're shut, we're gonna have the full scoop look, but when we open it, you're just gonna have a little bit of the front little portion of it will be fixed to the car.
Just made a little like device here to get a 3/4 inch off the exterior edge, and then we're just gonna exactly that, wall it out the hole. That way the motor can move around. Here's your deck lid. This guy right here. I got to get verification on this first, but then I get to do just that. I get to get fiberglass all up in my sleeves. Very fun. It's okay. This car is almost gone. Beautiful car. I'm very happy to see it go away from me. No, it's a good car. When you work on something for like what, 5 or 6 months now, I really enjoy this car. This car is going to be a lot of fun. When this thing is done, I'll never get to drive it because they're smarter than that. They give me the keys. But it's going to be a fun car. Very, very fast. Very, very scary. We know the center nut
is in the center. So just a little nut to hold the hold this guy up on the car, and then from there we're gonna cut the deck lid, and we'll cut it 90, and then we're gonna taper the bottom in so that we can see how we want to cut this guy, go with the sides. So, but that's simply just to hold it. I mean, that will be the permanent solution, but that is the temporary for the permanent down the road. There's 2 more on the ends, but we just don't know where the ends are at because we haven't got that far yet. Stick on fire. Just trying to line up this edge here is the seam, or I guess the seal edge, but I like that. This here piece of metal.
Piece of metal?
Piece of metal. The lip of this is sitting with the seal lip on the glass. But if you look at it in line, it's currently touching the intake.
Are you on the back side of our pencil line?
Yeah, I've got probably like a good quarter on the pencil line, but I know we have that trim coming in as well, so we have room for the trim.
Okay.
But we're just slightly tapping the intake with this piece of metal. I would assume we're gonna notch the metal. Probably better look down it.
You need to come back.
Do we have room to come back?
Yeah, we have room to come back.
Even with the trim for the window?
Yeah, the trim. That's we measured to the trim.
Now I'm getting the deck lid back on and centered, and then aligned, I should say. And then we're gonna figure out what angle we want the cover to be. It's not gonna be quite straight up and down, so.
Because the engine's so far forward in this, that cover is almost going to have a portion of it on the actual back of the cowl, and we'll have to have like a little lip on there so that when the cover that gets made on this, when it comes down, it'll seal on that edge, because the cover would be so long that it's not going to clear as it goes to clear when you open the hood. We'll have to have like a little small portion of the cover kind of be fit to the body, and then it'll have a little, like a seal lip, and then the cover that's on the deck lid will sit down on it.
Bubble is coming along wonderfully. So we've got the sides on, top on, the front on, and you just saw me here shaping this edge because it looks something like this, real sharp. We don't want it real sharp. We want it nice and soft. I don't want to say for certain, but I think in lunchtime, I'm going to put it back on. And I know it fits under the, or I suppose over the motor, but I think I'll put it back on during lunchtime and see where I can make it better, shape it nicer, because you don't want it to be sitting in the car and then it's like sitting like this or like that, so that's where this last little final step. I know it sits upright, but more or less these edges, pardon me, I want those edges to sit really nice. So this is called Fiberall, which is just basically pre-mixed fiberglass within some kind of chemical scientific logistics, I don't know, but it's basically fiberglass and resin in one, and then the small bottle, which is the blue stuff, is the hardener, and you basically get like a paste. Think of like toothpaste for a really, really bad sense of terms, and you can swipe it on, and for little things like that little hole, this little guy, and I'm a little bit low right there, it's really great. You can just swipe it on and then it cures in 5 minutes. You can come back and knock it back off. So just a quick little oopsies, I go too far. I can fix it real fast. I've got this guy here, which is a template we made, and I'm basically just keeping that shape. I want this radius, so flat, 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 and then I want the radius in between. And that's pretty much my naysayer. If it fits that, it's good. If it doesn't, it either needs to be added to, like right here, or needs to be taken away. That's kind of the only real two options you got. The car has a lot of curves, but the car also has a lot of sharp edges on it. I don't exactly enjoy the fiberglass aspect of it because it gets real yucky, it gets real nasty, and of course you go home itching like crazy. But it's a cool car, and it's going to be really fun, and a very, very, very nice car when it's done.
It's looking really good, and it's come together pretty quick. We're kind of down to the wire on this.
Oh, hi.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, far out.
Yeah.
There you go. You guys already did it.
Engine cover.
Cool. What do you think? Looks good.
You didn't see it when it was mocked up?
No, I seen a square box mocked up, but I didn't ever see the actual shape. We can put a little more angle on that side. Pretty vertical. It looks good. Is that what the other one looked like though? It was vertical?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a couple of degrees in there. This side to me looks more laid in than that side, but now that I'm looking at it, it looks like it's even.
Okay. Well then, optical illusion.
There's a lot of optical illusion.
Yeah, see, that's the angle we're running everywhere. I mean, that's what we were building it to, right?
Yeah.
And it looks really good right here. What does it look like on that other side?
This one's actually laid over a smidge more,
Yeah,
but
isn't
it's
that
also
funny?
sitting on glue, so.
I never lie. That rhymes. I'll work on a better one, but that does rhyme.
See, this up front, I think, is laid in, where this right here, I feel is like pretty darn, but it'll be all right. Oh yeah.
They're building the grills right now too, yeah?
I think so. Tack one side, and then come and tack the other side, because then the whole thing won't fall apart.
Yeah.
And you can take the rubber bands off.
Right.
And then get a pull clamp over here so you can snug this up on itself. Let's just try to keep them nice and tight, and then clean it out a little bit so we can get some filler rod in there.
Aye, Captain.
Okay. And and make sure you clamp it and fit it a little bit before you go doing anything, because if we need to take it apart and get clean a little bit of something up, because I can tell what's gone on is we've lasered these kind of right to the number, so there's not a lot of clearance. It's floating over here, tight here. This one's floating over here, tight down there. So let's just try to get some clamps on them, and then let's remove some material so that when we weld it and then smooth it off, that there's still a weld in there. This thing's got a radius. It is good that he offset these enough to where you can't confuse that. So it looks like the assembly's all great, but let's not ignore anything. We don't need to just blindly run into it and then find out later we should have paid more attention.
The overall shape, the overall design that's what was on the prototype car. That's it. Nice. Looks cool. So from the original 77 308 GTB, the length of the control arms was nowhere near long enough to be able to get the wheels out far enough for the wide body on the 288 GTO body. So in that respect, it was really important to really focus on what it is that we wanted to do with the car itself. Obviously, we want to improve the handling, we wanted to improve the braking, and of course the drivability. So we decided to go to 348 spindles, or uprights as we call them.
Going through the checklists in my head. I'm going to do the lower, then the upper A-arm, and then I'm going to mount the hub to the A-arms. And then I'm going to mount the shock to the hub, and then I'm going to mount the tie rod on the hub, and then the sway bar. And then start playing around with, get the tire on, play with ride heights. Yeah, very nice. In-house, all billet, aluminum. It's pretty snazzy. It's beautiful hardware.
The Ferrari's getting some custom control arms. We've got a bunch of them. This is the fourth one, so I've got the 3 on the table that I'm halfway done with. And each one has 4 operations. There's 8 arms, plus I had to cut the blocks out. So yeah, there's like 30 operations on this project. It's involved. I'm just trying to go one step at a time and keep it manageable. We don't make these all the time. In fact, we usually just use, so most of the cars get a Roadster shop chassis and they have some Corvette style control arms. The Ferrari's a little more particular. We made some changes to the suspension, the spindles, so these kind of accommodate that 308 chassis to the more contemporary Ferrari suspension parts. So kind of cool, kind of a fun project. Suspension stuff, kind of fun, it's a little bigger. Not some little detailed emblems, so it's fun to make a little more chips. But I got these guys ready to go. Kind of copy paste my programs from one to the next. It's nice that the left and right, you know, I get to, it's not 2 of the same part, but they're similar enough that I can kind of go a little faster. Basically what I'm gonna do is machine the inside. So 80% of this part gets machined, and then I move 1 clamp at a time so that the piece doesn't move. The machine marks, you can kind of see it. Like if you look on this one, you can kind of see where I did it. If you're really investigating it, you can see it. But because these things are getting painted, it's whatever.
Stage 1?
Stage 1 is done. You see these little green knobs? When I did, so the other one for the left side or right side, I don't even know. I already did one of these that was the opposite side. So I know where my hold downs are gonna be. So I'll put the clamps kind of there and there, there and there. And then I'll have these will be out of the way, and it'll machine these other ones, and we'll be off to the races.
So it begins. I knew it was going to be like this. No. It says you gotta trim things and bump stuff around. Whether these have been bumped or... Hey, Will, am I bumping these tabs out or am I sanding the bushings down? No, it's not even close, just like, kind of like always.
I would widen the brackets.
Okay.
Let's see what we got to do to widen the brackets.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I don't want to shave the bushings down.
Okay.
Is that a number like 2 inches wide that we can shove a piece of tubing in there, or what the hell? You know what I mean, between those?
I don't know yet.
Are there different ones of those? Like we've got the rears and the fronts all
No.
mixed or anything?
The rears are a lot bigger shank on the bolt.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
These are for sure the fronts.
Yeah, let's figure out what we got to do, and if we have to stack some metal together and shove it in there and repress them to widen those pieces, then let's figure that out. Well, let's hope that what's going on is those have been pinched,
Yeah.
and the base is the dimension we need.
Okay.
So all we have to do is straighten them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, let's hope that. Are those bolted in?
No.
Drag one out, let's see it.
They're like, it's gonna be quick. No, it ain't. Oh, yeah, I did. This is a Porter Power press, 4-ton hydraulics to open it up. Let's not be in front of this in case this blows up. This will shoot you. See here. Out of this. I don't know, maybe you can see my gap, what I gotta do. Built a lot of suspensions, they're always like this.
No, we do not do control arms every day. And obviously I haven't been here for very long, but from my understanding, this is a pretty rare project, especially on a Ferrari. Essentially, we've got a couple parts we're working with from OEM Ferraris. So we've got essentially a 308 chassis and then pickup points from a 308, pickup points being where the inner control arms lie. So this would be like the chassis side, then obviously this is the wheel side here. And then this upright is from a 348. And so we were tasked with kind of making a new control arm that would look good, that would be machinable, lighter than the factory unit, but then also connect the new uprights to the factory hardpoints. Process, first we 3D printed everything. So we got some suspension arms for that Ferrari. These are the mock-up, the 3D ones, 3D printed ones, so I'm gonna glue these together. This is the lower control arm for the rear. This is the upper. We're gonna mock it up on the car, make sure our fitment's correct with the fitment wheel, and then we'll make the real ones. So, almost there. So obviously, if you're throwing an upright from one car and then control arm from a different car and then a chassis from a different car, you're gonna get a lot of skew-wampus suspension. So we had to do some analysis on it to make sure everything kind of checked out. So this is our little model here. Essentially here you can kind of figure out like, okay, if we hit a bump, what's gonna happen? Where's our roll center going to be? What's our camber gain going to look like and things like that. We were really concerned that our camber gain was going to be very aggressive because we have such a short control arm. Again, this is because we're using 308 hard points with the 348 upright, but we did the math, we had to modify a couple things, but then everything checked out. So it'll be super comfortable for a daily driver, but sporty at the same time. It's a Ferrari, so it's gonna be driven. We want it to be sporty, but not like a race car. So we got that dialed in, then made these control arms. We wanted them to look pretty similar to the factory units. So we went with that kind of tubular style, but then obviously gave it a couple more modern touches also for strength. Nothing translates properly from the computer to the real thing, you know what I mean, in custom cars. So we 3D print and make sure the fitment's correct. I don't believe we've actually locked down the fitment of the wheel in terms of wheelbase either, so this will kind of help us decide where we're going with the camber, caster, things like that. And then once we finalize everything, we can make the actual parts. 3D printing one of these, you know, maybe $100 versus carving one out of aluminum, you know, we're significantly more expensive and a lot more time to do that. So rather just, you know, save time in the short run. All cut out of aluminum. They're lighter than the factory units. They're a hell of a lot stronger than the factory units, and they're modular. So we can shim either way. So if we look at a front angle view, you can see this one has bushings on it right here. We put in a lot of gappage here to account for those bushings and then also shims, so we can shift the wheelbase essentially forward and backward if we need. We also gave the car more adjustability in the rear. They're not pictured in the CAD here, but we gave it eccentric bolts in the back so that we could accommodate for different toe angles and camber and things like that. So a lot more adjustable than it was to start.
These are the tabs for the eccentric converting to eccentric.
Yeah, we got to press all these bushings in there. We got 2 more sets coming out of the CNC, and then we got to push all these bushings in there, and then we can get them on the car, make sure everything looks nice. We already 3D printed everything, so everything, you know, should be perfect. But
This is the first one that is the second side of it. But I have to do, so I did the back side of this first, then I did the top side. I did the back side of all of them, then I did this side, and then I'll need to hold it sideways to get the holes for where the bolts go through. But these look really good. I'm really, really happy with this. If I can get them all looking this smooth, I think it'll be a win. Well, we originally designed it thinking we would do it out of 6061 aluminum, which is kind of, it's like the generic machinable aluminum. It's really strong. It welds really nice too. But because these pieces don't have anything that'll get welded onto them, when I got the quote for material, I had them quote it in aircraft grade material 7075, which you can't weld on, but it's 150% the strength. It cuts the same. I haven't noticed a difference. Maybe it's, you know, a little different, but compared to other aluminums, it's almost the same. I'm gonna fixture this into the machine again, and I'll have like a tombstone that it'll bolt onto this way.
yeah.
And then I'll just write a program to punch the holes in these and punch the holes down here. That one's a threaded hole for the sway bar. And then I'll have to fixture it again this way. So, still got a long ways to go, but just gotta go one bite at a time. Not too bad, not super heavy too. Feel like it's probably lighter than stock. I should weigh the stock ones and see. Cool. Working through these control arms for the 1977 Ferrari. I've got the first side done, which is underneath right now. So I'm cutting the back side of these parts. I built this little fixture that'll index on all of them, so I can just line these things up really quick. I'm trying to keep the setup times as short as I can. The setup is what, getting this thing square, getting it clamped down. I'm trying to keep it really universal because all the arms are different. So just trying not to get overwhelmed with this. So basically, I'm going to clamp it down on the outside. I'll machine the inside, then I'll kind of switch everything, machine the outside, and then pull them out. Just pressing my buttons on the microwave real quick. All right. I got all the cool part done. Now I got to punch the holes in it. So this is the first one. That's the bore for the bushings. So I'm just doing kind of one at a time, moving these guys around. I have to hold them upright because the machine only cuts from the top. So I've got this kind of whole fixture in place that I can swap out relatively easily. It looks pretty crazy, and it kind of is. but it's going pretty good. These things are accurate to, I think I've got it within 5/10,000ths of an inch. Once I get all the holes punched, these ones get threaded. I think this is the swing arm, or sway bar mount rather. Yeah, once those are all done, these can go on the car. So I just gotta touch it off with the probe and then we can run it. Scariest part of running it like this is when it changes the tools. They all clear, but like barely. They're like a 1/4 inch off the top, so it's a little kind of scary. I'm about to check on something. So I have it do this little part first so that I can check to make sure the hole is centered, because I don't want to redo anything. So this side, this little pocket is undersized about an 1/8 inch so that I can check and make sure all the edges are exactly what I want them to be. Yeah, there we go. I'm aiming for 1.125, and there it is, bam. Yeah, they do a good job with that. I feel like that show can go on forever. Here's some control arms, Will.
Hell yeah. Man, oh man. How long we've waited to be able to do this in-house. Greg knocked him out of the park. Proved that everything that we've done is all gonna be great for alignment, and then this car can leave this side of the shop on its wheels, which we were kind of debating if it was gonna go on a cart over to paint. So we can have the thing leave on its wheels, that's a win.
This blows up, comes out of the hose, it injects you with oil, and it is not good. All right. So far, so good. I would like to get one side at a time. Try to get this hub on. Learn from one side before I start jacking with the other side. There's holes on the lower ball joint on the front, connecting the ball joint to this one right here. All the bolts in.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we gave ourselves plenty enough room to be able to adjust the wheelbase and the camber caster.
This is what we're doing for tail.
Yes.
Okay. We don't have the right diameter bolt right here that's long enough, so I'm just gonna run 2 of the stock bolts through it for now to get it on the wheels and see what it's gonna do. Crazy tight tolerances. Like if you see the bolt, barely clears, it barely clears, it barely clears, it just like barely clears everywhere. We're modding the top tabs to be the eccentric off of, I think these were a BMW kit. This is just like a kit you buy with the bolts, really fancy bolts. 2 inches more narrow in the rear to fit a fatter tire, because what was on here was like lawnmower tires. it's stock, and we're putting, I think, 315s on. Pretty healthy tire. Everything is lining up. We've got these cool little eccentric bolts going in there. Everything's looking nice and straight so far. So it's get the ride height sticks on it and get the Goonie wheels on, start playing with alignment and see what's going on there.
We kind of discovered that changing the spindles yesterday that it was giving us way more bumps here than we wanted. And I didn't realize that, so my bad. Whoops. Okay, now shut it up. I didn't see it move. Basically, if the geometry is not right, the A-arms and the travel of the wheel compared to the steering rack and the tie rod end, then as you go through the suspension, instead of tracking straight, the wheels will actually turn. Okay, go up a little more. Okay, then just let it fall. Kind of slow. The tie rod end was coming in up here, so the pivot, where the pivot point is here, so that would have been there, and then the other pivot is in here. So we were able to move it to the bottom here, and with all the other placement inboard compared to this placement outboard, then it all coincides that much better. And they're all following in very closely the same arc. Yeah, that's way better. I mean, it starts to toe in there, but that's way beyond. That's way beyond our shop. Yeah, that's way better. Okay, shove it back up and throw the bolt in there. Almost. We got to do wheel offsets. The suspension's looking pretty good.
You know, when I'm putting a design theme together and I'm putting a car rendering and some ideas together, it's just because you can doesn't mean you should all of the time. I think it's important to be able to have the imagination to go free and to build really over the top stuff, but at the same time, you also need to have the ability to pull back a little bit, and just because you can doesn't mean you should. And I think that in the way that we build cars here and the way we work together and the way that we pull off some of these builds and the themes is that we stay true to what it is that we believe in. We believe that we want the car to still be in style. We don't want to do anything flashy, nothing trendy. You want to do stuff that is going to be classic, that's going to be attractive. It's going to be just like any other car that Kindig-It Design has ever built, where people will walk around it, they'll come back 20 minutes later and notice 5 more things they didn't notice the last time. And again, the third time they come around, they'll notice more things. I think that this Ferrari build is really kind of going to encompass all of those things. The idea behind the design on the GTO is literally just to pay homage and respect to what originally was there, but also adding a flavor of the modern performance, the modern designs, some of the stance, the fitment. You know, those are things that we take a lot of pride in. And I think when this car's all finished out of the body shop and going back together, we're going to really get a really good idea and a feel of what the overall build is. And I think that it's going to be something that is going to go down in history as one of our best.